Welcome back to All Chiefed Up, where we do Kansas City Chiefs news, analysis, and more. Today, we're going to hit a couple of highlights on some NFL news, but then we're going to get into roasting Joe Burrow.
Willie Gay was suspended for 4 games yesterday. 4-game suspension handed down by Roger Goodell. It's crazy to think that Deshaun Watson out here forcing these women, like 200-300 women, just to like touch him in inappropriate places. He gets 11 games. Willie Gay gets 4 games for breaking a vacuum cleaner. It's nice to know that the NFL and Roger Goodell respects Hoover more than they respect women.
I heard he really did a number on that vacuum cleaner. I haven't seen a shark get beat that bad since last season.
I haven't seen anyone take this much of a stance on cleaning products since Danny Tanner. I heard they recovered the vacuum cleaner though. They just put it back together with a Raiders jersey, and I heard it still sucks.
Yeah, but in all seriousness, the timing of this situation is just ridiculous. I mean, this happened last year, and they just randomly want to hand down a suspension right before the Bucs game when Tom Brady's been struggling like crazy, and it ends after the Bills game conveniently.
Yeah, that's pretty shady. I think a lot of people are thinking the same thing we are here. It's very sus timing.
Hey, but no, there are no conspiracies. You shut up. Everything's 100% legit with the NFL. Quit your conspiracy crap, Mike. It's annoying.
So, getting into some other news, we got the Raiders blowing a 20-point lead to the Arizona Cardinals. How funny is that, dude? They do not call them Chokeland for nothing.
I haven't seen anything blown that hard since the media was all over Joe Burrow after his defense carried him to the Super Bowl last year.
Okay, so check this. Kyler Murray travels 84.85 yards, according to Next Gen stat of the game, on his first successful 2-point conversion attempt on Sunday, the longest distance traveled by a ball carrier on a 2-point attempt in the Next Gen era.
Man, his legs are so tiny. I bet he instantly got the little green check mark on his watch where he hit his 20,000 steps for the day.
Dude, no doubt. That play lasted 20 seconds. Do you realize in that amount of time, Patrick Mahomes could have beat Josh Allen and the Bills twice?
So Denver limped across the finish line, beating the lowly Houston Texans last weekend.
Yeah, Russ, after getting $49 million, decides to throw 6 for 16 for 98 yards. I haven't seen numbers that low out of a Denver quarterback since every time John Elway was in the Super Bowl.
Man, Danger Russ only had a 37.5 completion rate.
Dude, on the bright side, that's 8% higher than Denver's winning percentage over the last 5 years.
So if you were tuning in to see us roast on the best quarterback in the AFC North, we're sorry. We'll get to Lamar Jackson later on. But right now, we're going to talk about Joe Burrow. He deserves to be roasted more than anyone in the NFL right now. This guy was extremely overhyped last year. And no matter how much you told people that he was overrated, they didn't want to hear it. They already crowned him the next Tom Brady. And really, he looked just like Andy Dalton. Man, Mike, do you remember the time that ESPN reported that Cincinnati's Joe Burrow was taken to the hospital with a possible throat contusion?
Yeah, dude, coincidentally, they said that 89% of the Bengals fan base has went to the hospital over that same injury because they won't get off Joe Burrow's. Burrow's record in the NFL, dude, 12, 15, and 1. This dude has cemented himself among the Bengals greats such as Dave Klinger and Achilles Smith. Did you know in the first 28 games Joe Burrow started, he only has 4 more wins than John Kitna, the great John Kitna. I mean, come on, put some respect on Burrow's name. He has 4 more wins than John Kitna at this point.
Yeah, man, that's ridiculous. The same critics that were crowning Joe Burrow as the next Tom Brady before he's actually done anything in the league, they're the same ones saying that Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson are not good quarterbacks, that they're not smart, they don't play smart, and they only play street ball. If I didn't know any better, I would think that Joe Burrow probably got all those rumors started because by the looks of his tweets before he got drafted to the NFL, it looked like he wasn't auditioning for 32 NFL teams. It looked more like he was auditioning to be the next Grand Wizard.
Hey, that's true. No lies detected.
And if you don't believe us, then just read some of these tweets we're about to throw on the screen.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No!
Do you remember the tweet that Joe Burrow thrown out trying to be funny when they were talking about his hands? And he said, considering retirement after I was informed the football will be slipping out of my hands, out of my tiny hands, please keep me in your thoughts. Dude, if you think that's tiny, you should see his NFL winning percentage.
Yeah, it's about the same size as his.
Dude, but Joe Burrow, it's not all on him. It says, I just read a stat. It said Joe Burrow has taken 13 sacks so far in his first 2 Sunday outings. Dude, imagine how many sacks he'd have taken if they'd have counted all the other days of the week.
Man, Joe Burrow dresses ridiculous as well. He can't decide if he wants to be Vanilla Ice or if he wants to cross Macaulay Culkin with Cam Newton. Doesn't Joe Burrow, everything about him and his arrogance and his look, doesn't it just remind you of the rich kid that had everything handed to him as a child? You know, the parents that never punished him for anything and he was just a snotty brat.
Did you see that article back in the day where it says Cincinnati's Bengals QB Joe Burrow one team over during a meeting on racial injustice in 2020, says former staffer. You know, that was only one more win than he got in the entire season the year before. So at least he started it off right.
So they always talk about Joe Burrow being on the Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks. He is quite presidential. I haven't seen tiny hands like his since President Trump.
Yeah, speaking of presidents, he's just like Joe Biden in a way. He got a complete pass on racist comments in the past.
Yeah, I'm surprised Joe Burrow didn't send out a tweet that said poor kids are as bright as white kids.
I'm surprised he didn't build a fence around the NBA so the foreigners couldn't get in.
Man, this dude is slime. He's a sleazeball. He gets a pass on everything. He's like a rich, snotty kid that had everything handed to him in his life. He's racist, all the extras, man. He's just like the biggest sleazeball that you can think of. And everyone praises this guy and pushes him out there as the next great white knight quarterback in the NFL. And it's very irritating.
He's the media's great white hope. Dude, you know what the smartest play in Cincinnati's been all offseason?
What was that?
Joe Burrow's appendix trying to get out of town before he had to take the heat. Dude, Joe Burrow looks like a gluten-free Mac Jones.
Yeah, I really want to pin all my Super Bowl hopes on a guy that couldn't beat the power duo of Mitchell Trubisky and Cooper Rush.
Joe Burrow looks like a 15-year-old sassy white girl.
Joe Burrow dresses like a cross between The Rock and that sleazy guy at a frat party that slips you some cocaine with fentanyl in it.
Joe Burrow looks like a vegan lesbian. I haven't seen nobody suck that bad wearing an orange jersey since Russell Wilson in week 1.
I haven't seen Joe Burrow take that many hits since the Wet Bandits broke in his house.
Joe Burrow looks like the guy you'd cast as a high school kid, but you can obviously tell he's 35.
Joe Burrow looks like the kind of guy that separates all the food on his plate so it doesn't touch each other. Joe Burrow looks like every cheerleader's gay best friend in high school. Joe Burrow looks like the grown-up version of Richie Rich. Joe Burrow has the most smackable face I've ever seen in my life. Joe Burrow looks like he sits down when he pees.
Aside from my soul.